What did you guys talk about today?
Today was mainly honestly reacting to IRI watching the Pod Save America thing with Ken Martin. Cinema. I don't know what else to tell you.
Oh, was IRI getting fired up?
Yes, man. I don't know if I primed him because the day before we talked about it a little bit, but I tried my best not to. But I really wanted him to watch it, so I was like, you need to go watch that. Like, I'm really curious of your opinion on all that. IRI was fired up. At the start, he was like, well, Ken should probably, Ken should probably release it. You know, it's kind of a bad look that he hasn't, blah, blah, blah. But at the end, he was like, this motherfucker looks like a retard.
Yeah.
The Pod Save America guy. It was brutal. Watching it a second time, yeah, that is crazy.
Pretty wacky. He was wondering what's your take was. He was wondering what's your take was. You might want to call him and talk. Fuck you, Chuck Norris, for that brain-rotted sentence. Bro, Mootin. I'm going to be honest with you, okay?
All right.
I don't think I've ever said this publicly before.
I'm waiting.
I think our boy David might have done it.
David?
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for him. The singer guy?
Oh.
Apparently they found like fucking chainsaws in his house that they think he used a SAR
okay, that
fucking
I didn't see. I saw they found like 60 grams, or sorry, not grams, terabytes of like child porn on his phone.
Okay, well,
so or something like that. Yeah.
All right, who doesn't have 60 TV?
Joan is running right now.
Hearing everybody in the room laughing for the demo when because they showed these food shops clips and the food it's like a minute and 30 seconds of me and you can see food shops is like playing fucking XCOM and you hear me over the mic. I'm like screaming. And I'm like, I don't know how to do these timestamps. None of this fucking makes sense. This is the stupidest fucking thing in the universe. And like all of the co-counsels are like just fucking laughing. Like this is I'm fucking unhinged. And then the next clip they played is like 20 seconds in. I'm like, okay, I got a question about submitting stuff to Grok or whatever. Is this gonna get shown on the internet? Because I don't want to send all my child porn to Grok or whatever. And then like as soon as I talk, I was like, I would like to state for the record that I did not send any child porn to ChatGPT or whatever. Stupid, dumb, but. Good
that is so fucking funny.
What are you gonna do?
God, she shouldn't have shown the clip. She should have just read it out to you.
Well, there was another time where she did that too. Oh, that was another Kiwi Farms theory because she tried to run with the Queeman and Gisticle thing, where she's like, "Didn't you say here that you hope that one of your fans kills these people, or that you would show up and kill them yourself?" And I think my response was like, "Well, when you read it like that, Joan, I sound like a sociopath, but." Yes, I was speaking hyperbolically here. These people had nothing to do with the court case. It was because of years of harassment and stalking and blah, blah, blah. But she didn't know any of the background for that either, so I got to explain my whole side, and then she didn't. Yeah. Yeah, she was just way too... I think she was just way too gentle, and she needed to be way more aggressive. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not complaining.
Well, this is good. Maybe you won't have to go to trial.
No, I don't think... Yeah, this was the first time my lawyers were ever comfortable enough... I guess like saying that they felt
they feel good.
That they were like, I think we're gonna win this on MSJ.
David's 21 and he chopped her up and put her in the back of his, I guess,
not
Tesla.
Good. He went full Saudi Arabia on that girl.
Yeah. Yeah, U.S. singer David bought chainsaw after allegedly killing teen. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you gonna do? You know.
What do you want me to say? Oh, here we go. Jon Stewart says Democratic leadership and DNC are lost.
Past couple.
I'll watch some of this. Fuck me. I'm gonna get triggered. Call IRI. IRI is always going to jump on, always. But sometimes he's streaming on Twitch, and sometimes he's using like TikToks. I don't know if he can, but I love IRI. He can always hop in here. Yeah, I love him too if he wants to. Yeah.
Months though, there has been more reach out from, I would say, more kind of like establishment folks. However, this is.
I just want to say for a second just how fucked, because I know liberals just can't, because you're too weak. You are. I'm sorry, the commies are right. You guys are too weak. That every single time we were like, listen, vote blue no matter who. You guys have to support the candidate. Even if it's not your ideal socialist fucking candidate, you got to support him. Vote blue no matter who. And they're like, oh, well, you guys wouldn't vote blue no matter who for us. Like, we would. Listen, if Mamdani was running for president, if AOC was running for president, I would vote for them 100% without a second thought. And now they're like, their test for vote blue no matter who is like, well, now we got a Nazi. We got a guy with the Nazi tattoos. You better vote blue. It's like, oh, Jesus fucking
And they
Christ.
are going to go. That's the funny part is they are going to go vote blue.
Jesus Christ.
We don't give a fuck, man.
Yeah.
Totally. So like, so that's been going on
Yeah.
since the beginning. Been big supporters really the whole time.
They felt a fellow progressive who they thought, okay, I understand where this fella's coming from.
Totally. So like, so that's been going on since the beginning. Past couple months though, there has been more reach out from, I would say, more kind of like establishment folks.
Do you actually think Plattner is a Nazi or just retarded? I, honest to God, I don't think he's a Nazi, but I would have to go back and relook at it. He absolutely fucking lied about those tattoos.
He had a Totenkopf.
Trillion% he lied about those tattoos, which
he was a retard and he got a tattoo. Yeah.
well, and kept
A
it for
Nazi
like
tattoo.
and kept it for like
And kept it.
16 years or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah. So he 100% lied about that. I would have to do significantly more reading into him to think that I would not actually support him as a senator or whatever, just because any blue senator is probably better than a red one. But yeah, I like if this was a center left candidate, holy fuck, dude.
Oh, it'd be over, man.
Oh my God, the lefties would be going crazy on this guy. Also,
100%.
I would also say I would be real careful if you're a if you're a Jew dude. Things aren't looking very good for you right now in the U.S. Just be careful on that. Jesus.
You might want to go to Israel.
Might want to be careful about Jesus.
So there has been more reach out from, I would say, more kind of like establishment folks. However, and this is the important part, not from like the DSCC, not from the DNC, like nobody in the places of power remains interested.
But they're lost, dude. Like
It's so bad.
They're lost.
And the thing that bothers me the most isn't like, I'm not.
What does he mean they're
I'm not-
lost? The
It's
Dems
a
are
sloppy.
winning.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Slopulism.
Okay.
It's all you have
Jews,
to hate
Jews,
the
Jews,
mainstream
Jews.
mid left. You have to hate it. You have to hate it. You have to hate it.
Asking for you to like be my friend. But you should be curious because I'm pulling 40 points ahead.
Right.
Like at least just reach out and be like, hey, what are you actually? Because they've never spoken ever. I've never gotten a phone call. Like no one's ever reached out. I've never talked to anybody in leadership. No one's ever been interested in.
We have a norm of candidates who lose the general election, not capitalizing on their clout and trying to take the nomination again. Why the fuck are you okay with Kamala breaking that norm? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. But I will never, ever, ever hear a progressive dick suck or socialist dick suck who cried over and over again about how we need to have open primaries and it's important to let people vote in the primary and the primaries are where we test everything, to cry that Kamala Harris wants to participate in the primary. That's your let her, if she wants to run in the primary, let her run.
No one's ever reached out. I've never talked to anybody in leadership. No one's ever been interested in which is like kind of baffling.
I think it's because they only know two stories. The two stories are this: you're either a moderate Democrat or you're a left-wing firebrand. And so what they're saying is, oh, sure, the left-wing firebrand, that does well in the primary, but that'll never travel. You know, there is that idea that, well, electability, and there's something crazy about this, as though you are the equivalent of you're the Democratic equivalent of a MAGA loyalist who has come out with wildly controversial positions. And then you talk to you for 5 minutes, you go, oh no, this is based in historical precedent. It has a very literate and literary foundation.
Wait, what is he talking about?
Equivality in the primary, but that'll never travel. You know, there is that idea that, well, electability, and there's something crazy about this, as though you are the equivalent of you're the Democratic equivalent of a MAGA loyalist who has come out with wildly controversial positions. And then you talk to you for 5 minutes, you go, oh no, this is based in historical precedent. It has a very literate and literary foundation to it. It has a foundation of lived experience.
What? I don't know. historical precedence has nothing to do with whether or not a position is, what do you say, radical or whatever? Like, things can have existed one time in history and not be relevant anymore. I don't know. This is whatever.
You're the Democratic equivalent of a MAGA loyalist who has come out with wildly controversial positions. And then you talk to you for 5 minutes, you go, oh no, this is based in historical precedent?
Yeah, like slavery is based in historical precedent, but that would be a wildly controversial position now. I don't know. These are dumb statements, I think.
It has a very literate and literary foundation to it. It has a foundation of lived experience. Like, they should be, again, viewing this as a Rosetta Stone that can help them translate. And here's the trick. And maybe this is what we can kind of talk about, and I'm cognizant of your time, and because of your lived experience, your rural internet connection.
That's the issue, actually.
That is the issue. How do you translate that lived experience? You talked about it a little bit earlier, being on the planning board and understanding that, sometimes the wording and the intention, had unforeseen consequences and those kinds of things. How do we translate those experiences to create that new deal for a more modern America where we do get that value, where we do change the incentives of government, the way that money is spent? How do we make that transition?
This is honestly the hardest question to answer. And my answer is going to be insufficient. I'll just tell you that right off the bat. The answer to it is that we need to build political power through getting people like me into the U.S. Senate, into Congress, and we also need to do it while building organizational power outside of the system. There has never been a moment in American history where we've gotten good things just because the institutions or people in power decided to do it. They needed to be pressed. I mean, this is honestly why this country has killed the labor movement. We did it on purpose. We did it because the labor movement is a foundation of power that can actually push back against the system. We need to, on our campaign, above all else, this is an organizing project, because I firmly believe that while me getting elected to the U.S. Senate, that's a big part of it, but that needs to be in tandem with a fully organized, broad-based coalition here in the state of Maine that can put pressure on, frankly, other members of our delegation if need be, because it's not going to be enough to just rely on the systems. But the big thing is that it's that building that kind of outside power. That's also how we're going to identify more people like me and then have the resources to get them elected. Because the biggest issue right now is that, I think that you probably saw there was an article recently about how majority Democrats, which is this kind of PAC group, has been essentially curating with a lot of money these candidates.
Hey, I've been watching off and on since the SC2 own days. You're Virginia, and one guy. I'm glad to see you play the lawsuit. Hate to see people. Thanks, buddy. I love you too. Dalier for the $15.
Push forward, and it's all built around this idea that we're doing it
One thing that's very annoying to me when it comes to people talking politics is sometimes people don't distinguish between what is electable and what are the things that they want, and they always try to pretend that those two things are the same. I guess maybe there's a strategy rhetorically to doing that, but it's wildly dishonest and annoying to me. There are ideas that I have around housing and whatever, rent control, and I understand that maybe these are not, or maybe those are the best examples. There are ideas that I have that I know wouldn't be politically popular. I'm like, I wish we'd do this, but we probably shouldn't. We should do this, but probably not a good idea because people wouldn't like it. And then there are things where it's this is what we need to focus on, I think, to win elections, because these are the things that are popular with the base right now. One of the annoying things about a lot of these lefty types is that they always pretend that all of their policy positions are also always maximally the most popular things, and they never, ever, 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 ever draw a distinction between what is their policy position and what is the thing that is electable at this point in time. It's so fucking annoying.
Pro-corporate, pro-business, moderate types.
I would expect that from a politician because you're running for office, obviously. So the positions that you represent you have should be the politically popular ones you're trying to get elected in what is essentially a popularity contest. But for online content creators, it's very fucking annoying.
We need to build the opposite of that. We need to build the infrastructure. So for me, the only reason this ever happened is because on day one, people who could shoot a launch video, who could help with small dollar fundraising, and who could get my name in the papers, those three things, those were assets that I had access to because some, frankly, labor unions had pitched in some support for the project to make that happen.
They just forgot their candidate Kat from Illinois lost. Doesn't matter. That was because of the Jews. AIPAC.
We got to find other people from the normal world like me, and they're going to look different, they're going to sound different, they're going to be from different communities, and that's all what it's supposed to be. But it's a matter of infrastructure. Because if we don't have that infrastructure to give them that early support, then, if I woke up one day and said, I want to be a U.S. Senator, I would have walked out of the boat launch. I would have told that to the guys that I fish next to. We all would have laughed about it over coffee, and then we all would have moved on with our lives, right? It just would not. Then, if I woke up one day and said, I want to be a U.S. Senator, I would have walked out of the boat launch. I would have told that to the guys that I fish next to. We all would have laughed about it over coffee, and then we all would have moved on with our lives, right? It just would not. There's no way that it would have materialized. And so, to turn all of this stuff into reality through policy.
Okay.
But the Democrats,
some of them
They don't care about you. They don't care about your interests. And that's precisely the reason why
We need a
letting your
socialist
voice
movement,
be
yes.
heard in the primary system is almost as important, if not more important,
voting.
because the Democratic Party's primary is what determines the trajectory of the Democratic Party. If you're angry because there's people like Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, people like John Fetterman.
Don't say the F word.
Not a lot of Fetterman fans in here. Well, he's no fan of mine.
By the way, Fetterman was one that these guys all supported. But also, it's funny how they're naming these Democrats who were like some of the most hated by the party Dems, like acting like Sinema and Manchin were loved by the Democratic establishment or by the Democratic Party as a whole. Really?
Mine either. He's always on Fox News yapping.
And I want you to understand, I identify as a Democratic Socialist, but I'm running as a Democrat because the system creates this narrowness. But there's a bunch of Democrats running, and we are not all the same. We are very different. We may share this label in this moment, in this system, but we are very different. So if you choose to register as a Democrat, you are not pledging allegiance to that party.
Jesus.
You are using your power in that moment to vote for the person who you believe reflects your interests, and the interests of the communities that you hold most dear, some of whose members cannot vote because they may be too young, or they may not be citizens, or they may be incarcerated. There are a number of people who will not vote for any number of reasons. So when you're voting for them as well. Chris Rabb here. Look, if you are in the 3rd Congressional District, I would love your vote and your support. It's May 19th, May 4th, to make sure that you either register or you register as a Democrat so you can vote for me. You don't have to love the Democratic Party to vote for me. I do not care, because I'm not here for the party, I'm here for the people. I also appreciate if you check me out at chrisrabb.com. You can volunteer even as far away as LA. You can volunteer remotely, and you can also give, because I do not take a dime of corporate PAC money. I don't take money from APAC affiliates, subordinates, subsidiaries, allies. I take money from the people, and I use it to invest in the folks who are closest to the pain and are part of the movement. So please, chrisrabb.com. That's RABB. That's short for rabble rouser.
I love that. All right,
Right,
thank
there
you.
you go.
There you go.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
So nice meeting you.
Thank you.
All right.
Jesus.
I'm back. What I miss?
More Hasan slap. Oh boy.
Oh, nice.
Wait, let me get my one Red Bull. Hold on.
Jesus Christ. Hey everyone, go to shrimple.as. Steven or Dan and I's merch is out if you're interested at all. The mug is 20 ounces. I'm wearing it right now. It's actually really good, high quality merch. So yeah, if you're interested at all, shrimple.as or store.destiny.gg or destiny.gg/store, any of those. Yeah, I'm wearing the mug. I'm wearing it on my head. Or on my cock. The stickers are cool. Well, yeah, it's just a frog sticker. But if anything happens, I'll probably get, you know, like one of those sunglasses with like the mustache and the nose on it. So I'll keep you posted on that. It is just a generic frog. Okay? Make a Yee mask for that frog. But yeah, I think we've had like 100+ orders today or something like that. So yeah, if you like the shit and you want to wear some AE merch, well, there you go.
What are you crying about?
I was shilling. My new merch is out.
Based on store.destiny.gg, right?
That's right.
And one thing that Matt Gaetz also used that 86 many times, and nothing happened to him.
Well,
I think we look at everything. I'll be honest with you. Absolutely everything is in context. I don't think anybody is immune to it. I don't think we should be sitting here and nobody has condemned Jimmy Kimmel for his comments. Those were despicable.
Joy pointed out earlier, and the president also posted death to Democrats. Do you think the president should be held responsible for that?
When you, all due respect.
Uh-oh. With all due respect. That's how you know you're about to hear the most retarded shit in the world. Here we go.
I haven't seen that post.
Oh, the unbeatable!
Never defeated.
I'll tell you what I did.
It does exist.
Okay, what I can tell you is this, and who was the Attorney General and the DOJ at that point?
Probably Pam Bondi, no?
Look, here's how I feel about this. Here's directly how I feel about this. Nobody should be inciting violence. Period. That's my perspective.
Including the president.
But you have to remember something. The Department of Justice brings real cases. We are not Jack Smith. We are not Letitia James. We bring real cases against people.
No, I know. I actually had the pleasure of serving as a former federal prosecutor at the Department of Justice. But let me ask you this.
Wait, would you say that? I had the pleasure of serving as a former federal prosecutor? Wouldn't you be a former federal prosecutor and you served? You are a former federal prosecutor and you served as a federal prosecutor.
I do believe that this is a vindictive prosecution against Comey, directed by the president. And so far, with little success, because he's done this many times. As Trump's personal attorney, you actually were sanctioned nearly $1 million for filing.
Also, I'm so sorry, but like, I hate that it's the women that are all doing it too, because it plays into weird sexist tropes or whatever, but like, Jesus Christ, guys. My God.
I know.
A frivolous civil lawsuit against Comey, against Hillary Clinton and others, that a federal judge called political grievances masquerading as legal claims. So why should anyone believe this pattern of targeting Trump's enemies is about justice and not revenge?
If you think that the Russian collusion hoax,
Nice pivot.
if you think that the things that we've now seen evidence of in this Department of Justice aren't real, I'd just tell you to sit tight, because things are coming. Because what they did was weaponize. I don't want to hear about weaponization, because the reason you all know who I am is because of weaponization. I sat through targeting, people saying we're going to get Trump, and then a Hillary Clinton appointed judge sanctioned me for suing Hillary Clinton. By the way, I'm proud of that.
Well,
I'm proud of what I did.
Actually,
because it was the right thing to do.
Let me get Alyssa in here. Let me get Alyssa. Let me get
I just have to correct something,
Okay.
though, Whoopi. It was actually Bill Clinton, but that appointed that judge, but also a three-judge panel, consisting of a Bush appointee, a Trump appointee, and a Biden appointee, actually agreed with that court's decision, and in a 36-page opinion.
Which one was it again? Repeat it.
And basically,
I do want to move on because,
do your thing.
as I mentioned,
Shut the fuck up. How many I have Mega Hitler, I think, is coming to my cat house. Are there any bosses after that, or is that the last one and then I beat this game? Somebody know?
Who the Mega Hitler?
And it's like,
Yeah. Who else would the final boss of a game be besides Mega Hitler?
Mega Benjamin Netanyahu.
True.
and it's like there's a weird time now where people are enjoying questioning the numbers of people that died in the Holocaust.
It's an internet
retarded.
It's just kind of like,
but just
fun.
like. But there is some weirdness to it, and one of the questions. It's like there's a weird time now where people are enjoying questioning the numbers of people that died in the Holocaust.
It's just now. That's just now happening.
It's an internet
retarded.
It's just kind of like,
but just
fun.
like, but there is some weirdness to it, and
Okay.
One of the weirdness to it is like there's some photos of like Auschwitz and a lot of these other that they took after the camps were liberated, and they had people go there and they took photos of them, like pretending that these people were at the camps, and they weren't. They were done after the fact.
Yeah.
This shit is fucking scary. No, that's why I said if you're Jewish, be careful. Shit's getting cray out there. Cray.
But there's also tons
like, what
of
are you
videos
hoping for?
of.
It was only 1 million. What?
Right.
So that's okay somehow. You want to justify it in your head?
Yeah.
Maybe it was only 1 million.
Yeah, that's where
like,
it's weird.
I don't know. If it was 600 people, I'd be like, ugh.
Right. Well, it's clearly there was a lot of people. It was, I don't know what the number is, but if it was,
Oh my God.
We're doing Holocaust revisionism on Joe Rogan. Hell yeah. Epic and based pilled. My goodness.
6 million, or if it was 1 million or 3 million, it's like to catch people. Like, no, you guys said it was 6. Like,
They're
and
also,
then the thing
it's
is, like,
it's
it's
the 30s and 40s, so it's like
right.
I don't know how to. And we're guessing. We don't have
Right.
the wherewithal. And you ask
True.
somebody,
How could you even know how many people?
Could have been 10.
Who knows? That's still bad though, right?
I wasn't there. I don't know.
in the Holocaust, they go, well, I was only in my one camp. I can't tell you what was going on in Bergen-Belsen.
But there's people that are like equally sure that it was 6 million, and then there's people that are equally sure that it was like 300,000 or
equally both sides.
Or 600,000.
Now I just want to say it depends on who's in the room with you. Because of that Abu girl or whatever, listen, maybe it was only 600. Maybe it was only 6,000. I don't know. I'm just saying, stop!
Or whatever the fuck they think it was. And it's like this weird argument back and forth.
I mean, you have to see how many Jews were in Europe before and after.
Right.
And there should be more. It's funny when you see, like, if you have a stat like that, like separated from this, like it was in Peru. We were hiking to Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu.
Me and O'Neill.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Let's talk about Machu Picchu after
our Holocaust
segment.
revisionism. Oh God! What is this? Did you watch this?
What's this?
The
Is this
60 Minutes interview? Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
The whole 40 minutes? Is it good?
Let's just say that CBS is lost, I think.
Oh, well, CBS is that's Barry Weiss, head editor.
Yeah.
Our new queen. Propaganda Nazi queen. Not Nazi, but propaganda queen. Ocasio-Cortez isn't convinced. She's not sure that these are the kinds of proposals Democrats should start building an agenda around. When you actually look at the totality of what's being put forth, we are seeing a total gutting of a resource base, Ocasio-Cortez told Notice. If people want to choose between whether they want a guaranteed health care or a 5% tax rebate, people are going to want guaranteed health care. It's not to say that I object to any and all like tax cuts or tax rebates, right? We can help people who are struggling, but I don't think that the biggest impact in how you help someone and how we help people makes ends meet is through that avenue, she said. Ocasio-Cortez said, across-the-board tax cut proposals on the table amount to an attack on young people. It is a complete defunding of the world that young people will have to live in, and they are asking young people to foot the bill, Ocasio-Cortez said. Uh-oh. People are about to start hating AOC. Is this a far left news site, or was this trying to make AOC look bad? I feel like you don't normally see these things in quotes. Likes. Don't they normally edit those out or ask you for a cleaner statement? Or maybe they're quoting a speech. Where was this? Or maybe a right-wing outlet or whatever. Or just somebody, I don't know if they're trying to make it look bad. Where was this? Fuck. It's not to say that I object to any and all like tax cuts or tax rebates, right? Normally don't they not have words or they'll ellipse it or whatever instead of having them in here?
I don't feel like I almost ever read a like.
I feel like it's pretty strange, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what the notice publication is or what they're quoting from. But. Senator Chris Van Hollen wants to eliminate income taxes for households earning under $92,000. And Senator Cory Booker wants to raise the household standard deduction to $75,000. Let's just have none of us pay taxes. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. According to Media Bias / Fact Checker, their factual reporting is high and they have a left center bias. So maybe they were trying to make all lefty people like AOC and Bernie look bad. Or maybe that's just their style.
Ad.
What?
Who won?
#ad.
True.
Won the 2020 election.
I'd say that that President Biden was certified the winner of the 2020 election.
He won.
Fucking.
This should be jailable.
It's something, yeah. It's just.
Won the election. Is that your response?
Senator, I think my response is he was certified as the winner by counting the electoral.
So you're unwilling to say he won the election. How about you, Mr. Roberts?
I have this Same answer as my colleague, Senator.
Same answer
Senate,
as the previous one?
the previous nominee. The Senate did.
Mr. Coons, how about you?
Thank you, Senator. And I have the same answer as Mr.
Same
Hendershot.
answer. Unwilling to say that Joe Biden won the election, correct?
As Mr. Hendershot said, it has become a matter of political concern, and Joe Biden.
Well, it's a matter of
certified the
political
winner.
concern, but it's also an issue of fact. Is it not?
Joe Biden was, in fact, certified the winner of the 2020 election.
Mr. Mark?
Same answer, Senator.
I am
astounded,
amazed,
in disbelief,
and really appalled that nominees for a lifetime appointment to the federal bench are unwilling.
These are judges.
That's
that can't
crazy.
say that. That's every single judge that was not willing to, because you're disagreeing with your fellow federal judges as well. Every single judge that is not willing to admit that Biden won the 2020 election has to go. They've got to go.
Mhm.
Impeachment or whatever the process is, they absolutely have to go.
To respond on an issue of fact, and I'm not going to try to get an answer out of you because clearly you've been rehearsed to provide a stock answer,
Yes.
which I think really reflects not only on your honesty, but really on your fitness to be a federal judge, because
it does.
You are supposed to be independent and to arrive at the truth based on the evidence before you. And I think it's
other federal judges have looked at.
Irrefutable that Joe Biden won the election, but you're unwilling to use that word because you are afraid.
Yes.
You are afraid of what? President Trump? That is exactly what we do not need on the federal bench today. We need jurists who are fearless and strong, not weak and pathetic.
True.
I can't tell you how disappointed I am. We can disagree on issues of law. We can disagree on issues of fact, but for you to simply avoid a factual and responsive answer, I think is that
Well, I don't know why he said issues of fact there, but okay.
disrespect to this committee as well as to us.
But
should be disqualifying, but
that's crazy. That's crazy. Not good. Apparently you could hear Chuck Grassley asking why they can't just admit who won.
What would be wrong if they...
I am amazed and really appalled.
What would be wrong if they...
I am amazed and really appalled that
What would be wrong if they...
I am...
I don't... Okay.
I hear what would have been wrong if they... And then...
What would be wrong if they said Biden won? Is what the quote says it says.
What would be wrong if they...
I am amazed and really appalled that
What would...
I don't know. I don't agree that unless somebody else heard it, I can't. I don't think there's enough to hear there, but okay. Trump argues against seeking congressional authorization as the Iran war hits the 60-day mark, citing the ceasefire. I don't think it's constitutional what they're asking for. He tells reporters about lawmakers who have said he needs to go to Congress. Okay.
She died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her.
Oh, this is David interview. Oh, no.
She died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically. Thought of her as gone by itself was something that she did. It was something that I decided to do. And I killed her in the back of my mind. It's really more of a figurative I killed you, especially in the back of my mind. I try to stress that in the back of my mind. That's why I say it so loud. In the back of my mind, you died. In the back of my mind, I killed you. So it's all in the mind, because that's the most secure place you can be is in your mind. So if you can expel that thought
in your mind, then everything else will just
come together. The puzzle pieces will just align. She died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her.
Why didn't OJ think of that one? Dumbass.
OJ's defense was rock solid.
If it does not fit, you must
He must have quit.
What? Have we gotten Emia's commentary on this yet? She has left. She has stopped supporting the Faith Sheriff. What?
It's terrible.
Stop. Oh, bookmark this. This is just really good to have. Hold on.
Yeah, it seems based.
You don't even know what it is. Fuck you, bitch.
That's the thing I sent you, you fucking retard.
You did not send me this, you fucking retard.
Look up. Look up. Look up the next one.
Where?
Oh, I guess this isn't technically it, but
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
It's not.
The same
not
shit.
Not even remotely the same. I can't even tell what I'm looking at. You just sent me some Web 2.0 crazy crypto scam
I bookmarked
bullshit.
your bullshit.
Excuse me? What is this? Hold on. MAGA influencer CJ Pearson registers to lobby as foreign agent for the Bahamian government? Okay. Remember when a video of David cleaning the missing girl's shoes has resurfaced online? Jesus Christ, bros.
I like the Monsters Inc. music.
It says Monsters Inc.?
The music is, yeah.
What is this? Our queen.
Am I getting paid? No, of course not. I just care about talking about Gamergate style, politically motivated conspiracy theories, because that's something that I cover, and it's something that I deal with a lot myself. I've written about Gamergate's type of stuff for a long time. Oh, Jonathan Katz is here.
So I read into the war powers a bit, and it seems fucking insane that Trump can basically ignore it unless you secure a 2/3 majority to concurrent resolution to terminate, or if they can pass the AUMF, which also requires a large support to do it because it means cutting funding. I see past examples like Obama saying Libya isn't under war powers, etc. This is fucking insane how much power you give the president. Metaloid, the reason why it's not supposed to be this way, or why it's not really as bad as you think it is because technically, if a president were ever being like insane and abusive about these things, he would probably just get impeached. I think that's kind of the issue that a lot of past Congresses were looking at this. Like, well, like, would the president really read this in such bad faith or do such crazy shit with it? Well, no. I mean, like, he would obviously get be impeached by the Congress if he were to do it, right? Yeah, there's no way, right? Which I guess actually, funnily enough, if I go all the way back to one of the Federalist Papers arguments I say is that the pardon needs to go because the Federalist people were retarded because they said that the president would obviously just never abuse this power, and that's all they say. Maybe they were actually thinking a similar thing, that he would get impeached or the Congress would check him somehow. I don't know. Who knows anything? This shit fucked. What are you going to do?
Gamergate's type of stuff for a long time. Oh, Jonathan Katz is here. Oh, I invited you. Anyway, my point is I just want you guys to be able to recognize when you see...
Okay, fuck. I'm not trying to extra bully. But have you seen... did you see when AOC went to it wasn't the UN, Brussels or whatever, to do some global speak thing? And
I did. Yeah, and she had like
She kind of flubbed on an answer.
She had the flub.
What was it about again?
I believe it was about... was it not about
Taiwan?
Israel? Oh, no, yeah, it was Taiwan. It was Taiwan. They were asking her, like, if you were, was it like if you were president or whatever, would you commit to like fully like helping out Taiwan or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Something along that?
Yeah, and she kind of fucked the answer up or whatever. I don't know why. Did you ever see Pisco's response to that?
Yes, he said something along the lines of like she misspoke. And it wasn't like a huge deal.
He got super mad at Hutch for saying she fucked it up. It was really funny to watch.
She fucked it up.
Oh man.
This stuff, and when you see somebody posting a bunch of blurry screenshots online, and when you see like this type of manufactured outrage and you watch these goalposts change and change and change, that should be a sign for you to slow down, and think twice, and also realize that video footage or photos and visual media can be very convincing. And so you need to recognize that, that essentially, like, don't just believe an out of context clip. Because that's what a lot of you guys are doing. It's like you just see a clip and you see somebody
there's over the Hasan dog shock thing.
misrepresented, and then you just believe it. And that's, I wrote about this and I have a video tomorrow on it, but like, I think that that's what's really scary when we think about this like video era of the internet. Yeah, don't believe your eyes, because again, you guys would fall for, this is the whole, like, you say don't believe your eyes. Yeah, exactly, don't believe your eyes, believe actual journalism. Because the arguments that you guys are making are the same arguments and the same burden of proof that people use to argue that Donald Trump is currently, that there's a body double in place of Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
Same thing, guys.
Because you know what they'll do? They'll blur up, pictures, they'll blow up pictures, they'll change the opacity, they'll, show out of context clips
Out of
together.
context.
Like, that's the type of stuff that people do when they're trying to prove these conspiracy theories. What do people not do? Again,
They don't talk
look
about
at the
it ever.
actual caller. Like, talk to people that spend time with it. Talk to the dog trainer. Talk to people that walk the dog. Like,
The dog trainer was in a clip with Hasan talking about how he used shot color training. And I think Hasan agreed with him and said that he used, but like, okay.
all of those people can vouch that this dog is not abused. I'm on the payroll. Guys, I wish I am not on anyone's payroll. I don't even have any freaking brand partnerships right now, okay?
Right now.
I don't have brand partnerships in part because I am constantly targeted in similar bad faith smear campaigns.
Does Linus Tech Tips, do they have like gear sponsors? Like, do they ever do like NVIDIA or Intel? They must do partnerships for electronic shit because it's their bread and butter. They have to, yeah. Okay.
Anyway. Why did I platform Haya? I didn't. Very much did not. I have reported very critically on her. Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but she has really gone off a cliff. And speaking of video, I think it's actually, I think part of the reason she's failing and like not really growing as an influencer anymore on the right, like her influence is so capped, is because she's so bad on video. She's so bad on video. And so I think libs of TikTok, first of all, it's not hitting as much as, like, it doesn't, like, her posts don't go as viral nearly remotely as they used to. They don't have the she doesn't have the partnerships right now, okay? I don't have brand partnerships in part because anyway.
Who was she talking about?
Why did I platform Haya? I didn't.
Libs of TikTok.
Very much did not. I have reported very critically on her. Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but she has really gone off a cliff. And speaking of video, I think it's actually, I think part of the reason she's failing and like not really growing as an influencer anymore on the right, like her influence is so capped, is because she's so bad on video. She's so bad on video. And so I think libs of TikTok, first of all, it's not hitting as much as, like, it doesn't, like, her posts don't go as viral nearly remotely as they used to. They don't have she doesn't have the cultural relevance. The whole thing is just very ridiculous. Guys, I don't think Cutie, whatever.
Does she remind anyone of Lawyer Lauren, just the way she speaks? I think it's like a California Valley girl thing, no? Is that where she's from?
Her name is, said it was a shock collar. So it was an e-collar. It vibrates.
Pretty sure the CEO of the company, was that to my fan or was it somebody else who emailed him that checked if that was a shot caller? I think the CEO of the company confirmed, and we can see like the debunker himself, okay, has debunked this whole, it was not a shot caller. It was a shot caller, but you know, whatever.
Anyway. 2 hours. She said it was a shock collar. Well, it's not. It's a vibrating collar. I don't know what to tell her. She can go look at it again. It doesn't have shock collar. Like, I've seen that collar too. It doesn't have the prongs. Yeah, it doesn't have the prongs. If it doesn't have the prongs, it's not a shock collar. It doesn't have shock capabilities. Also, I need you guys to understand, again, shock collars are not like tasers. Yeah, she didn't say it was a shock collar, you guys. And yes, there's tape on the back of the collar where his phone number is written.
She's even giving the retarded Hasan thing. Oh my
Did you see the clip of Hasan today saying that she wasn't even wearing a collar during it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said it's really obvious on the video that he is wearing a collar.
Yeah, Kaya is wearing a collar.
Which is so silly. Yeah, if there's no prongs, then there is.
If there's no prongs, there's no wrongs.
There's no prongs, then it is not a shock collar. It does not have shock capabilities. Also, I'm just like, I care a lot about debunking, like.
The debunker.
The debunker.
The debunker. The debunker. He was ready.
I hate this fucking country
Bad move. Or bad mood for this.
so much. You can be on a fucking mountain in the middle of Norway and get better internet than Los Angeles, California. And this is just like a moment of anger. This is a moment of fucking anger for like something that is just so routine, so silly, such a first world problem. But it is emblematic of all of America's much more consequential violence. Okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop. Reason as
Wait,
to why
what's wrong with
America,
her? Oh, holy shit, I just noticed this.
Kaya, please just.
What's this huge like indent in her neck? This horrible shining shimmering indent. What's going on there?
I don't know, man.
What is that?
Fucking go, just stop.
Oh, where she clips her paw.
Hello, Hasan slop?
Hasan slop.
Jesus Christ.
You know
what?
she wasn't even wearing a collar in that video? Bet you didn't know that.
I knew. Oh, he's just ignoring you.
What? Listen, what?
He probably just woke up from his grandpa nap.
It's a dialogue tree. Wasn't wearing a collar, but if she was, there was no shock prongs. But if there were, they were cut off. But if there weren't, he didn't shock her anyways. He used the vibrate feature. But if he didn't, wasn't wearing the collar.
It was Mossad.
The phone number was behind the tape. Okay.
I mean, it was a Mossad op, wasn't it? We all agree with that at least.
It would. God damn. How successful
That'd be a good
would that
one.
be too? No, I mean to me that's equivalent to beepers.
That's some shit Mossad would do.
That would be fun.
Imagine poor Hasan actually specifically went out of his way to order the vibrating collar, and they made a special one that looked like a vibrating collar, but on the moments that he presses the button, the vibrating prongs, they come out and they fucking inject the dog with the bark serum, and then they,
Do
boom.
it. Get her.
Suddenly, Tweedledee and Tweedledummer just can't stop making big bucks off shrewd investments in companies making big bucks off connections to the government. They are experts in every industry now. This is about Trump's sons take stake in Kazakh miner that won $1.6 billion U.S. contract. Eric Trump. I would be very careful, Ron. I had no involvement in this transaction, and have always been a passive investor with no management role in this vehicle. Any suggestion to the contrary would be both inaccurate and defamatory. Nice. Just the president's children casually threatening litigation.
Sue.
Good country. The Newsom lawsuit against Fox News is moving forward. Hopefully we get a discovery out of this at least. Could drones inside schools help stop a mass shooting? What?
Anything but get rid of, or make gun control stricter, huh?
Well, hold on. Maybe they're cooking with this one.
All right, pilots, good to go.
Here in this Austin, Texas middle school, we're seeing how to stop a school shooting with a swarm of tiny drones. It's a new idea ripped from the world of indoor drone racing, placing a nest of drones inside hallways.
So what do you guys call this? We've just been calling it the box.
And launching them remotely the moment a lockdown begins.
So in a school shooting, most of the death happens in the first 2 minutes. And it's really hard to get an effective response there in that first 2 minutes.
Justin Marston is the founder of Campus Guardian Angel, the Texas startup that envisions drones mounted on the wall of every school nationwide, waiting for an emergency. For now, the system is still in trials here in Texas, with a pilot program launching in Florida and lawmakers in Georgia considering it next.
As soon as people see it, it becomes really obvious and compelling.
To prove it, I got to watch a test live.
Bye.
For this demonstration, the drone operators are right at our side, instead of in a control room where they navigate using a 3D scan of the school's interior. Part 1, speed. The drones rip through halls, scanning for a threat and feeding point-of-view video back in real time.
As soon as I can find him, 5 seconds later, I can be flying.
Bill King is a former Navy SEAL and co-founder of Campus Guardian Angel. Live drone video can be relayed to police, giving them a clearer picture before they move in.
So we've moved on to a different part of the demo now that apparently requires safety glasses.
Whoa.
The team here has now pulled out a stand-in shooter. His name?
Silent Bob. Silent Bob? Yep, because he never complains.
Even as he is pelted with pepper
They're so young, they don't even understand that they could be making a reference to that. Cute.
spray balls, enough to stop a real shooter. Even an unarmed drone can still pack a punch.
Dude, Cops Lab is going to be so sick in the future.
Jesus.
Dude, I want them to have fucking grenades attached to these things. Just fucking full FPV Ukraine shit on school shooters.
Why?
Why not? Fuck them. They're trying to take out a bunch of kids. Fucking blow them the fuck up with an RPG.
What about the collateral damage to the kids?
What about if you let them continue sitting there spraying and praying the kids? That'll be worse.
A few of you will die.
By ramming into them.
Automatic shotguns.
Anything that causes that distraction, anything that takes their attention away from potential victims is a win.
Rick Goodrich is the chief of safety and security for a school district near San Antonio.
When a drone enters the room, it's the only thing you're thinking about.
Campus Guardian Angel admits this system will not be cheap, costing schools about as much as a school police officer's salary and benefits. This technology is still in its early phases and has never been used in an actual school shooting. But the hope is this can be an emerging tool in a fight with no easy answers.
If we see somebody murdering children, we want to stop them murdering children.
Yeah. Good point. True.
We're about to see how this works beyond just a demonstration. Florida's first pilot program launches tomorrow at a high school in Deltona, but not everyone is convinced this system is a game changer because some critics argue it may not offer much beyond what security cameras already provide and question whether it's the best use of already tight school budgets. So as this rolls out, it won't just be how this works or whether this works, but whether schools find that this is really worth it.
Why can't you just like put knives on the drones and have them like actually stop the dude? No, that's got to be the next stage.
I don't think they have enough force to, like ice picks they could do. I don't think that stops you.
Really?
Yep. Grenades. I'm telling you, the future.
Ex-YouTuber convicted of sexual assault Jack Densmo makes video going over court documents and transcripts. It is pretty compelling. Maybe D-Man should do a rape review. Jesus. He was convicted, though? Also, wait. Our Hasan resident expert is in here. When do you know when did Valkyrie and Hasan break up?
Wait, did they?
Yeah, I think they did a while ago.
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Really?
I have no idea.
Oh, he's typing. All right, I see.
I'm not typing. I genuinely have no fucking idea. The only reason I even knew in the first place was like there was that photo of them like holding hands or kissing or something under the table at like some OTV event or something from 100 years ago.
Wow.
I've been crying a lot. But it's more so like not that not I'm okay. It's more so I've been speaking to my I spoke to my ex a lot, and their messages were really sad, and I feel so it's very emotional, very emotional. Yeah, but you know, it's life is lifing, and it's like, wow, holy crap, I can't believe. Yeah, sorry to hear that. No, it's okay. It's just it just makes me wonder, you know, what life could have been like if, you know, things were different. It's like, it's sad. It's just, life is sad. You know, there's sometimes when, you know, I'm sure you guys understand where you know someone and then like maybe they get addicted to drugs, or maybe they just like they're too immature, or maybe they just
Somebody said they broke up because he doesn't want kids and she does. Is that on some drama thing somewhere that I missed, or
they're really poor, like they're doing things for the wrong reasons, and then sometimes don't go back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where life's gonna take me.
So she's single, huh?
Mootin.
Cheap flights, insane.
Is there an easy way to get a YouTube link without having to wait for the ads on this? Like if I see this.
You can copy it and put it in your YouTube.
Where? What do I copy, Mootin?
Just buy YouTube fucking premium.
I have YouTube Premium, but the embedded YouTube here is not logged in.
I've never had. Get ad block then, and just have it on for Reddit.
Just right click
FPL, our teams are...
Wait, right click what? Right click what, Mootin? Yeah, you don't have anything. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you.
Yellow card.
My name's Jack.
Yeah, I was a jammer.
My name's Jack. I'm a content creator, or I used to be until
If you're reading this, I'm in prison. Wait, how big of a content creator was he?
I had my life torn apart by a false accusation. Since this situation went public, I've received death threats. I've been banned from establishments. All of my YouTube channels have been taken down. I've lost friends. I've lost work opportunities, pretty much everything. I'm innocent. That's all I gotta say, really. Everybody knows I'm innocent. I did not want to have to make this video, but I've been silent on this issue for as long as possible.
Wait.
I'm innocent. I did not want to have to make this video.
That's not the judge, right? Or what is this
But I've been
outfit?
silent on this issue.
That's probably the judge.
No, shot. Why would the judge be standing next to him on... It's a Canadian court? Oh.
That's all I gotta say, really. Everybody knows I'm innocent. I did not want to have to make this video, but I've been silent on this issue for as long as possible, and enough is enough. My appeal was...
Real quick, Captain Dan from Destiny.gg chat said, I watched this. This guy likely raped. There you go.
This month, and I'm waiting on the decision, so I still have to be extremely careful about what I say. My goal with this video is to share what happened in a non-biased a way as I possibly can. I'm going to try my best not to be emotional and just be completely neutral here and share objective facts and evidence to show my innocence. The timelines of the encounter, inconsistencies in the evidence and testimony, and that there are enough inconsistencies to make you go read the full testimony yourself. Legally, I'm not allowed to say as much as I would like to, but I'm going to do my best to share what I can. Before anything else, I do want to say this. I believe survivors of sexual assault and false accusations of sexual assault deserve to be taken seriously and treated with compassion. I've been through both. Nothing I'm about to say is meant to minimize real harm. That being said, let's get into it. In February 2021, I was falsely accused and charged with sexual assault from a consensual encounter between myself and a woman in August 2020. I'll refer to her as the accuser. My legal team and I spent several years going back and forth to get records and evidence to help my case, and we finally went to trial in 2024, and the judge wrongfully convicted me. I say wrongfully as I have always maintained my innocence, and I will explain why in a bit.
Okay.
Based on how things go with my appeal, there are two options. Either the appellant court will order me a new trial, or I'll have to spend 3 years in jail for something I didn't do, and my life is essentially over. And in the meantime, there's been newspaper articles.
3 years? First offense? What kind of sexual assault are we talking here?
There's been documentaries and all kinds of misinformation put out. So now I'm going to go over some information to help you get a better grip of what actually happened. At the time of the incident, I was a YouTuber, actor, filmmaker, and primarily known for pranks. I've been working full-time and earning a living as a content creator since approximately 2016. I met the accuser after matching with her on Tinder. Tinder is an app for people to go and hook up with. I recognized her from one of my party videos, McMaster Hoko 2019. On that day, this person managed to find me and my camera crew in a crowd of 10,000 people in order to be interviewed. After matching on Tinder, we messaged on Instagram, texting and flirting before agreeing to meet up. The accuser drove approximately 30 minutes from Oakville to my house in Hamilton, Ontario.
Desperate. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Showed her around, and then she asked for a tour of my YouTube studio. I suggested we should go for a hike. We then left my house and drove to a hiking trail, but upon arriving, it was getting dark, so we agreed to return to my house and watch Netflix and chill. Upon returning to my house, we did just that. We watched Netflix and we had a consensual encounter. I'm not proud to admit this, but at the time, I was sleeping around with a bunch of different women. The accuser also had multiple different partners recently before me, as per DNA evidence, as well as confirming sleeping with an alleged boyfriend just a few days prior to meeting me. Now, to clarify, this is not...
Wait, how could you know somebody is sleeping around with multiple people as per DNA evidence? Like, okay, never mind. I don't know. That's...
judgment on her character. Rather, it's to provide context on our generation's modern culture of frequent hookups. In retrospect, I definitely should not have been sleeping with these women. But I was a young guy, and I was famous on the internet. I would often film a quick consent video when having sexual encounters with strangers that knew I had a large following as a proactive way to ensure I had clear...
Wait, shit, fuck! A consent video? What was I thinking? This guy's a king.
Consent from whoever I was hooking up with, especially women who have been featured in a previous video of mine. This is not a normal way to live, but it is common in society and especially amongst athletes, celebrities, and public figures. So during our encounter, I attempted to film a consent video and she informed me that she didn't want to be recorded. So I stopped the recording and deleted whatever was briefly recorded right in front of her. We then continued what we were doing, having a consensual sexual encounter. I want to be very clear here. The encounter was enthusiastic, ongoing. There was no confusion about it. She was consenting, as was I. She communicated consent in many different ways, particularly verbally, asking me to spank her and telling me during sex, f me, f daddy, amongst other things. I don't want to repeat them, but you can go and read the things that she said to me in the transcripts. After finishing our encounter, we chatted briefly before I politely told her I had to be up early in the morning, and I asked her to leave.
Damn! Uh-oh.
That was the conclusion of the date. Quoting from the court transcript, although the accuser originally told police that she was obviously fine with being asked to leave, her testimony at trial revealed otherwise.
One quick meme, and I know most people don't do this, most people don't me. I personally think it's the more you talk about ahead of time, the better. Like, what are your expectations? Are you planning on staying the night? Are you planning on whatever? Like, it's so good to have that figured out ahead of time so that there aren't different expectations, because people can get real salty about how that could end up otherwise.
Originally told police that she was obviously fine with being asked to leave. Her testimony at trial revealed otherwise. In cross-examination, she admitted that the dismissal did not feel good, and she agreed with trial counsel that she felt worthless because she was treated as a conquest or notch on Mr. Densmore's bedpost. So in hindsight, I can absolutely see why this would make her feel bad. She had traveled to see me. She was texting her friends and family about me and our date ahead of time. In particular, some
You're telling your friends that your biggest dream is to, be on Saturday Night Live.
They skid someone out.
Wait, was this... I'm sorry, did I miss this? Did he work on SNL or something? Or wait, is that an abbreviation for his... I don't know.
bedpost. So in hindsight, I can absolutely see why this would make her feel bad. She had traveled to see me. She was texting her friends and family about me.
Wait. I'm going to search, do the message. Okay, hold on. Do you agree with that? I may have, okay. And then if you did, then that means that that was one thing that you definitely knew about Jack before you met him, that he wasn't the one, right? I might have then, yeah, made the assumption that he wasn't the one. Okay. 16. There's this message actually on the day of the date, right? Yeah, just a couple hours before you actually meet Jack, right? Yes. You've already formed some kind of an opinion about Jack, right? That he's not the one, though, right? I assumed that it wasn't going to lead to a very serious relationship, but it was still open to the possibility. So you're open to the possibility of having a serious relationship with Jack.
And our date ahead of time.
Okay, so just so that you understand that, all right, and there it is. I just realized my biggest dream in life is to intern at SNL, even though that will never happen because I don't have the skills or connections, right? Yes, all right, so you're telling your friends that it's like your biggest dream is to, be on a SNL Live, right? Yeah, that's at the time, yes. Page 3. I don't know what this has to do with what he's talking about, but okay, I don't know.
In particular, some high expectations for me, kicking her.
The same feel. Oh, okay, but you would agree with me that that's not the same feeling that you'd have in that hypothetical scenario that you'd had with Jack, right? I disagree. I wouldn't say it made me feel anyway special, even though you knew all those things that about what? Okay. I don't know.
Route was rude and dismissive. I didn't think that way at the time, but I regret how I handled that. And if I could go back, I would do things differently. With that being said, all of the sexual activity that we did was consensual.
To be fair, there's nothing wrong with asking somebody to leave. I think it's on both parties to get some kind of like understanding of what's going to happen after. Ideally, before you hook up. I mean, you're being cowardly as the girl or the guy if you're not clarifying because you're just hoping that they'll not say anything, I guess, in the heat of the moment or after the heat of the moment, I guess, technically. And then if you're the guy, you're playing a risky game by not clarifying because that might upset the person, yeah.
Consensual. And when I say consensual, I don't mean ambiguous or neutral. I mean it was enthusiastic, encouraging, and ongoing. And I testified to that under oath. To put it simply, the whole thing was a typical one-night stand. Just to be clear, my charge had nothing to do with filming a consent video. It was entirely based on an allegation that I non-consensually assaulted this person. Dang. This was shocking to me. It absolutely destroyed my mental health. And for months, I was so confused. What the f am I being charged with? We do know what the reasons were now, and we'll get into those later, but I was charged in February 2021, and these charges were then made public in October 2022 after the...
Haven't you said in the past that if girls coming over alone to hang out or something that always means sex? Am I misremembering that take? That's a different take related to a different thing, and I don't know how you think that take relates to what I just said right now, but okay.
February 2021, and these charges were then made public in October 2022 after the accuser contacted my city's local newspaper to run a story about these allegations before that year's McMaster Hoko was to take place. During this time, I felt absolute agony. I stopped making comedy and prank videos because just, to put it simply, lost my sense of humor, and it's embarrassing to admit, but I felt helpless. Now I want to give you an overview on these things in society. Through legal counsel and many other stories that have been shared with me, I've learned that my case is not unique. False accusations are common.
Somebody said it was not a consent video. He's lying.
And absolutely devastating to the victims. For those that don't know, in Canada, there is no actual evidence required to charge and convict somebody in this type of crime.
Wait, what?
Actual evidence.
Yes, you can be charged with sexual assault in Canada without physical evidence. Here's what you need to know. The Crown can lay charges based on reasonable grounds, even without physical evidence. Testimony from the complainant is legally considered evidence of court, of course. Convictions can be made solely on credible witness testimony if it meets the beyond a reasonable doubt standard. Many Canadians falsely assume physical evidence required for charges and convictions. This is a dangerous exception.
Evidence required to charge, and for those that don't know, in Canada, there is no actual evidence required to charge and convict somebody in this type of crime. In most
that statement is so egregiously incorrect. I would say that it would call the entire rest of his, at least legal conclusions of this video, into question, but okay.
Assault cases, there isn't actually any concrete evidence. It ends up just being one person's word versus another. He said, she said situation. To put it simply, telling the truth is not enough. So as an accused person, the only strategy you have is to find lies, discrepancies, contradictions in the accuser's story. So imagine you or your loved one is being accused despite there being zero evidence. If you or your loved one's defense lawyer cannot question the credibility of the person making these accusations, it will most likely lead to a conviction, and there's nothing you can do about it. As much as...
Do you not have grounds to examine or cross-examine the person accusing you? In Canada, are you not allowed to confront your accuser?
This system and laws were put into place with good intentions to help real victims and real survivors. An unfortunate side effect is that they are highly abusable and exploitable. They often take years of time, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the accused person loses their job, loses their reputation, and is publicly shamed, and potentially even ends up in jail for something they didn't do. But aside from that, from the defendant's standpoint, there are also laws that have been put into place to make it even more difficult to defend yourself. In a normal trial, you can get access to information such as records, messages, emails, etc. However, in assault cases, the police and prosecutors can, and in my case, they did, actively redact any and all information or evidence to prevent you from using it in your defense. So in my case, it was brought to our attention that there were thousands of communication records that had been redacted by the police. We later found out that the police not only redacted all of this data, but they actually emailed the accuser and said, "Is there anything specifically that you would like us to redact?" And then she replied saying, "Yes, I would like you to redact all of the emails with my therapist and all of the communications with her alleged boyfriend, and in particular, specific emails that were very, very telling about what actually happened that night." And I will get into them later on. But anyways, back to the evidence. At one point, I remember they gave us about 90 different pages, and around 80 of them were completely blacked out. I'm not a lawyer. I'm actually kind of an idiot. But from what I've been explained by legal counsel, this makes it incredibly hard to defend yourself at trial. For example, if there is evidence that we're bringing that contradicts their version of events, they can change their version of events before trial. So why is it like this now? Well, first of all, obviously,
So the issue is that, like, the first thing he said was just so wrong. You can have any conviction without physical evidence. Remember, physical evidence is, I think, almost always, or at the very least more often than not, that's circumstantial evidence. It doesn't necessarily tell you anything has happened. Direct evidence is like eyewitness testimony. It can be stronger, it can be weaker. It really just depends on the totality of the circumstances. Like even rape kits are circumstantial evidence. There's DNA in you, there's marks in you. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean you were raped. It just shows that there were some circumstances that arose, and maybe you can argue a crime was committed based on those circumstances. But it's not like a person directly witnessing a crime. Him saying that you don't need any evidence was just wrong. That was just a total lie. What that earlier website said that he even showed was that you don't need physical evidence. Like, maybe you don't need a rape kit, which you wouldn't, right? 10 people could witness somebody murdering somebody, and you might be able to convict that person even without any physical evidence. I know for murder you're most likely going to have some, but he horrendously misquoted that. So I wouldn't rely on any of the legal interpretation he's giving you here for anything, because it just seems like he either has a very poor understanding or doesn't understand or is lying about it. Yeah.
Like this now? Well, first of all, obviously, it's intended to protect real survivors from privacy concerns as well as trials being delayed. But what it really is they essentially wanted to get more convictions. After the 2016 acquittal of Jon Gomeshi, which led to significant changes to Canadian law, frequently referred to as the Gomeshi rules. This was implemented via Bill C-51 and subsequent legislation, which are designed to make it easier to secure convictions by altering how evidence regarding a complainant's credibility is handled. These changes were meant to counteract how in the Gomeshi trial, the defense was able to use contradictory evidence like emails and photos to successfully challenge the credibility of witnesses and get an acquittal. In summary, because of Bill C-51 and the Gomeshi rules, if there is evidence that shows contradictions in the accuser's statements, it can be discarded. And even if it's not discarded and it is allowed at trial, it has to be given to them and approved, and that gives them the opportunity to prepare for it and potentially alter a story. This is what has been put into effect to get more convictions. The problem is it is potentially at the cost of innocent people going to jail and having their life ruined. Again, I want to preface, I am not a lawyer, but that is my understanding of the law, and I'm open to being corrected. Now, right off the bat, from the statements of the accuser alone, we had many examples of inaccuracies, contradictions, and story changes. But once we found out that there was all of this actual evidence that had been intentionally redacted, we became very curious. After several years and over $100,000 just in pretrial application costs, we were able to get a significant portion of the redacted evidence, including emails, text messages, etc. After reviewing them, it was quite clear that there were multiple strong motives to fabricate these allegations. Now, if we go back to the encounter, remember that the accuser only actually had an issue with my attempt to film a consent video. This is what was so confusing to me, because I was there. She initiated sex with me afterwards, and we continued having sex. All of this material is available in the official trial transcripts, which you can go over in the description. But even though I deleted whatever was recorded, she had a massive concern on whether or not this video still existed and was worried that it would be circulated online. And we know this because it was mentioned multiple different times. For example, from the April 18th transcript. And what about if he actually took a video? If he did and that got out, that could ruin my entire life. That is from the email she sent her therapist the night of our date. From April 18th, this is at 2:22 p.m. on August the 7th, 2 days after August the 5th. Also, I'm going to the police, maybe not to press charges, but I want to tell them and report it and see if they could do anything about him possibly taking a video or picture of me. End quote. My lawyer asked, "You sent this, right?" She responds, "Yes." My lawyer, "Okay, so again, the primary purpose for going to the police that you are sure you want them to do something about is to see if he took pictures or videos of you." The accuser, "Yes." Lawyer, and in your mind, you would agree that that would entail them having to at least go to his house, talk to him. Accuser, yes. And taking his phone. Accuser, yes. Okay, and then making sure that there wasn't anything there that you had in a compromised picture or video, right? Accuser, yes. If you want to double check this, this is all in the testimony on April 18th. So when she contacted the police, her concern was to know for sure that the video was truly deleted. However, the only way that the police can search a phone is by obtaining a warrant, and a warrant can only be obtained if there was a crime. From the appeal, although this factual conclusion was not mandatory, given the evidence, reaching it meant that when the accuser left Mr. Densmore's home, she believed he possessed a compromising video of her on his phone, which increased the probative value of evidence supporting a potential motive to fabricate. As Justice Prochenko concluded, the accuser's most significant concern was that Mr. Densmore had images or videos of her on his phone. It was essential to consider whether the accuser made the sexual assault allegation partly or fully to prompt police to access his device, especially since the police apparently would not take action unless she made a formal complaint. In regards to her email to the police, she said, "I'm unsure if I want to press charges at this time, but I'm deeply concerned as to if he has any photos or videos of me." Following back and forth communication with the police, the accuser eventually went in and gave an official statement nearly 2 months later. She then described a non-consensual encounter that, to be frank, did not happen. I'm going to try and say this as politely as possible. There are multiple points in the accuser's testimony which contradict her police statements and her testimony at trial. I want to share a few major discrepancies, and then you can decide for yourself. Now, as a warning, some of the information I'm about to share is graphic and potentially triggering, but I must go into these details so that you can see just a couple of the major...
He's doing a lot of sneaky edits to hide things. He keeps cutting to general statements. Like, again, you can read below. Yeah, I actually don't believe this guy at all. And actually, watching this is actually triggering the fuck out of me. Because now I'm wondering if people are going to accuse me in my manifesto of doing stuff like this. Like, he's reading... When somebody says you can read in a filing, like an affidavit or a declaration or a complaint, you can write whatever you want in there. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Like, there's a big difference between somebody said this in a deposition or somebody, attested to this in a declaration or somebody claimed this in a complaint. None of that has been like tested or probed by the other side, like theoretically, like Pixie could make a YouTube video and go 15 women accused him, and you can see that in the filing below where she claims that in the complaint, but that doesn't mean it actually happened. And he's showing a lot of like documents where like that one thing that looked like below that he was quoting from to talk about her motivation was this looks like a motion that his attorney filed. I don't even know. And I don't even know if this was ruled on or agreed upon by the... I'm not sure, because he's not saying what the filing is. He's just saying you can read it below. This court has repeatedly adopted similar provision holding trial judges must address any potential blah, blah, blah. Like, this reads like a thing. Somebody's saying it's his appeal. Yeah, so I don't know. Okay.
Nearly 2 months later. She then described a non-consensual encounter that, to be frank, did not happen. I'm going to try and say this as politely as possible. There are multiple points in the accuser's testimony which contradict her police statements and her testimony at trial. I want to share a few major discrepancies, and then you can decide for yourself. Now, as a warning...
Like, what is the point? What is he trying to do right now? I don't know. Is he just trying to save his YouTube channel or something? Or does he think this will help his appeal? Or I don't know.
Some of the information I'm about to share is graphic and potentially triggering, but I must go into these details so that you can see just a couple of the major discrepancies and inconsistencies in this person's testimony. I'm just comparing her version of events compared to her other versions of events and her own testimony. Let's proceed. The accuser testified that I aggressively removed her shirt and pulled down her dress. In testimony, she claimed...
Wait, let me use the restroom real quick.
No, you're not allowed.
What?
I'm not letting you. All right, he went. Fuck it. Yes or no? Are you pissing? I'm retarded. I'm a retard. I'm a retard. I'm retarded. Hey. Hey, reminder, guys, go to shrimple.as or destiny.gg/store to buy our anything else merch, man. It's very poggers. Very cool. Doesn't look stupid. Ah! Yeah, where's the Hasan sound? The shipping's $40 to Canada. Yeah, I know, but that is literally, I guess, apparently, I talked to our guy, that's the cheapest that they can fucking do it to Canada. Shipping's expensive, man. I'm sorry. Us Canadians, we could band together and we could do one big mass shipment together. We could do one big mass shipment. Distributed it. We could all go to the Toronto fuck, what is it called? Like the basketball center where they play the Raptors, and we can all hand it out. Ship it to someone's house on the border and smuggle it over. Holy shit. We can get a Destiny GG fucking smuggling ring going, man. That's genius, dude. Sorry. Anyways, buy your Shrimple as merch, okay?
What are you screaming about?
Smuggling rings. Problem?
No. Oh. I had, especially when we were getting into like the technical shit on the deposition, I felt kind of bad. The court reporter lady like stopped me for a second and she was like, she said, "Sir, the fastest stenographer on record can do 330 words per minute, and we only have to be certified up to 250 for court reporting stuff, and you're speaking at about 400 words per minute. Can you please slow down?" Sorry.
That's so nice of her, though. She's like, please, please help me.
Some of I imagine for the technical stuff, because there was an answer. There are so many technical questions. Joanne will ask her, and then she was like, "Can you explain what you mean by like time codes here or whatever?" And I'm like, "Well,
I assume it slows you down, right?"
Well, no. No, I can speak a lot about it, but because it's like technical stuff, you're probably not used to typing it. So when I'm saying things like,
that's what I meant. Yeah, her typing it.
Oh yeah, probably. I guess yeah. But. Fake news. Hey, it'll be in the transcript. I think that was on the record, unless she waited till the thing got turned off to say it.
He started by removing my shirt and pulling down my dress so that my breasts were exposed. Then, in cross-examination, she further insisted, no, he didn't ask me to take it off. He just started to take it off. My lawyer asked again, "You're sure about that?" To which the accuser confirmed, yes. She made this allegation in testimony and then took it off.
I don't remember specifically where, but yes, I was touching him. Okay, and he was also touching you. Yes, and at one point while he's touching you, right, he starts to massage your breast, right? Yes, and again, I'm going to stress to you that you're showing your interest in that, right? Yes, okay, and at that point, maybe not exactly that point, but shortly thereafter, okay, he asks you to take your t-shirt off. Do you agree with that? No, he didn't ask you to take it off. He just started to take it off. Are you allowed to lead the witness when it's cross or when it's direct? On cross-examination, you can lead the witness, but you can't on direct examination, right? I don't remember.
On cross, yeah.
On cross, you can, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Asked again, "You're sure about that?" To which the accuser confirmed, yes. She made this allegation in testimony and then doubled down on this in cross-examination with my lawyer. However, these new allegations she made in her testimony are totally different from her actual statement to police. To police, she said, "So we went to his room and we were like just sitting on his bed and he put on a show on Netflix and then he put his arm around me and then after a few minutes kissed me, which I was okay with. And then he told me like, take off my shirt, which I was comfortable with because I was like wearing a dress underneath it." So in her original story, she claims that I politely requested her to take her shirt off and she did it herself voluntarily and comfortably. However, at trial, she said, "He started by removing my shirt and pulling down my dress so that my breasts were exposed." Then in cross-examination, she further insisted, again, as part of this aggressive encounter she's trying to paint, "No, he didn't ask me to take it off. He just started to take it off." My lawyer confirmed, "Are you sure?" She confirmed, "Yes, that is how it happened." However, my lawyer then confronted her with her own original statement to police, and he reminded her that this is what she said. And then he asked her again what actually happened. She then confirmed her original story, which is that I asked her to take her shirt off and she did so voluntarily. My lawyer further confirmed asking, "Because you're the one that took your shirt off with his request, and that was your way of showing interest or consenting, right?" To which she responded, "Yes." This is a clear example of willingness to intentionally remove and omit participation and change details to suit the false narrative of an aggressive, non-consensual encounter, which to put it simply, just never happened. Moving on. There were fabricated bruises. The accuser claimed that I aggressively bit her breasts, causing bruising, swelling, and red marks for days after. On August 6th, less than 1 day after our date, the nurse examined her breasts and found 0 bruising, 0 swelling, and 0 red marks. This was totally fabricated. From the appeal, in her examination in chief, the accuser described an aggressive sexual assault. It began when Mr. Densmore removed her shirt and pulled down her dress, exposing her breasts. She testified that Mr. Densmore kissed and bit her breasts, which was quite painful, and that the biting left bruises and red marks that lingered for 2 to 3 days after their encounter. He then pushed her onto her back, got on top of her, and penetrated her digitally. Page 34. Though the events described above qualify as a violent sexual assault, Justice Kravchenko flatly rejected the accuser's account, noting how it conflicted with evidence from the nurse who examined the accuser's breasts and found no bite marks or bruising. He also noted a major inconsistency about digital penetration that was brought out in cross-examination. This is another clear example of...
So, I don't know why. I have no idea why he's making this video, who he's making this for. But like, to a layman, it sounds like, oh wow, even the judge is saying this lady is full of shit on this. Like, damn, that's crazy. However, if the judge still found you guilty after all of this, then what the fuck was the rest of the evidence? How was your case so fucked that the judge is throwing out, you know, portions of this testimony that seem to impeach the witness's character, but he still found you guilty? What's going on here? I don't understand. Okay.
Fabricating an aggressive, non-consensual encounter, as the accusations of bruises, bite marks, and red swelling for days after were entirely fabricated and confirmed by the nurse. Not days after, but the next day.
Well, the jury found him guilty, not the judge, right? It sounds like he said a judge found him guilty, so they did like a, I don't know if you call it a bench trial in Canada. I thought I heard him say that, so maybe it was just a judge, but I'm not 100% sure.
August 6th. Next, in her police statement, she said that I got on top of her aggressively.
I linked the evidence in my logs. He lost on appeal is the most recent thing. Oh, and this was a month ago. Oh, he has a give send go. Maybe trying to raise money. Where is the, what was he actually convicted of? Life Restoration Fund. Jesus. Damn. He has a whole, he's got, I do manifestos. He's got a website. Fuck. I need to have, wait, you have that thing soundboarded, right?
Which one?
Fuck. That one.
I don't think so.
What?
Oh, the font? I don't do that because Hasan ruined it for me. I would only do it ironically now. Because Hasan presses it all the time and it makes me fucking cringe.
Okay.
You can DM Hasan for it though.
He was wrongfully convicted of sexual assault in July of 2024. Okay.
Next, in her police statement, she said that I got on top of her aggressively, and in her description to the Crown, she shared detailed allegations about this without any mention of her participation. In April 17th cross-examination, however, she had...
Okay, quick.
A Hamilton YouTuber was sentenced to 3 years behind bars today for sexually assaulting a McMaster student back in 2020. Up until just 1 day ago, Jack Densmore was posting on one of his YouTube channels to hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Kelly Botello has more.
1 day ago, Jack Densmore was uploading his latest video to YouTube.
As long as you have 1 or 2 friends or people that believe in you, then that's all you actually need to accomplish the things that you want to.
Today, he was taken to jail after a judge sentenced him to 3 years behind bars for sexually assaulting a young woman in 2020.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm looking for a back-to-school girlfriend.
Densmore rose to internet fame with videos of him attempting to pick up women on university campuses, interviewing drunk people at Hess Village, and partying with students. More recently, his content has shifted to him giving men advice.
In this video, I'm going to teach you how to attract women.
What's up, boys? So everybody's been through a dry spell at some point. I'm going to tell you a story about how I overcame a dry spell I had in the past.
By refusing to take no for an answer. Just kidding. I don't know.
Listen, man, women are much more attracted to you than you are aware of.
In 2020, Densmore was on a first date with a McMaster University student when they became intimate. At first, it was consensual, until Densmore pulled out his phone to start recording. Densmore argued he was recording a consent video, while the woman said it was his attempt to make a sex video.
Wait a second. Either I wasn't paying attention much, or I misunderstood, or he totally lied. I thought that he made this like consent video like way ahead of time, before any sexual stuff was happening. But maybe the reporter could be wrong.
Densmore then had forced intercourse with the woman, sexually assaulting her.
You misunderstood. He did say it was during? Oh, okay. What is a consent video? Just a video of you guys banging is a consent video? Your Honor? Okay. I don't know. Okay.
The judge decided. The judge reiterated today that a sexual assault is a very serious act of violence, one that requires a penitentiary sentence, although he did take into consideration that this is Densmore's first offense.
Mr. Densmore maintains his innocence.
Wait, this was what? Oh, no, wait. Lawyer, sorry.
His family maintains his innocence. I maintain his innocence.
Densmore's lawyer, Mark Fay.
Is this normal? This is what lawyers dress up as in Canada?
I've never seen that. I don't know.
And he says
look what my lawyer's wearing.
will be appealed.
The notice of appeal has already been filed with the Court of Appeal, and we are awaiting a decision about bail pending appeal.
Densmore is facing another charge of sexual assault in an unrelated case involving a different woman. That trial is pending.
Wait, what? Hold on.
About bail pending appeal.
Densmore is facing another charge of sexual assault in an unrelated case involving a different woman. That trial is pending.
Damn.
Kelly Botello, CHCH News.
Okay. All right.
He admitted that after a few minutes of kissing, she swung her legs over my body and straddled.
Regarding the second trial, the accusers dropped the charges, citing not wanting to go to trial. Okay.
Me before removing her shirt. Straddling as in what?
That was a joke about Pixie dropping the charges because she doesn't want to go to trial.
Jesus.
Mounting me, so sitting on top of my genital area, and grinding her groin area directly on mine while sitting upright on top of me. She also said, now, that she smiled and moaned and that I would remark I liked it or moan. Again, this shows that she was an active participant, contrary to all of her previous statements. This is from April 17th, 2024. Next, in a statement to police, she said that she didn't make a single noise or sound besides, ow. Then, in cross-examination, she admitted to making noises, moaning, and saying, I like it, during various stages of sexual activity to show her consent that she was an active participant. From the appeal, another inconsistency was the accuser's avowal that the vast majority of the encounter took place in near silence. In chief, she was a silent recipient of Mr. Densmore's advances. She testified that, other than providing her with specific directions, the only sound made by either party was Mr. Densmore calling her a slut.
Damn!
In closing submissions, trial counsel describes the accuser's initial depiction as an incomprehensible narrative of a silent movie. It also seemed to be incomprehensible to the accuser, who admitted on cross-examination on multiple occasions that they were both moaning and that she was breathing heavy and that she uttered the words, I like that. Next, we're going to start talking about some of the therapist statements. Now, I understand that therapy is something that is very personal, it's very private, and a lot of people watching this might be in therapy, so I'm not using this in any way to try to minimize therapy or discredit therapists in general, okay? Just want to start by saying that. There were many issues with the statements to the therapist, including inaccuracies given to the therapist by the accuser, which led to the therapist giving very strong opinions and recommendations, which ended up leading to reshaping what actually happened in the mind of the accuser, in addition to collusion. And if you don't know what collusion is, Google it, because it's very bad. The accuser was asked about some of these statements throughout the trial. In this particular one from April 18th, my lawyer, okay, so you're not very truthful with your therapist, are you? The accuser, no, I'm extremely truthful to her. My lawyer, extremely truthful, right? Accuser, yes. My lawyer, that's how you characterize what you're saying to her. The accuser, yes. Here in particular, she made a statement to her therapist where she inaccurately depicted our date and implied, very dangerously, that I tricked her into coming into my house. I debated whether to send this or not because maybe I'm just being dramatic or stupid or overthinking or reading into something that didn't happen. Or maybe it just brought this whole thing onto myself. But I went on a date tonight. We were supposed to go for a hike and then drinks. But when I showed up to his house, he said it was too late to go for a walk, so we started watching a movie. My lawyer asked, have I read that accurately? The accuser confirms, yes. My lawyer, and that's not what happened, is it? Accuser, not all the details, no. My lawyer, but that's what you told her happened, right? Accuser, yes. Pause. Inaccuracies like that are super important because they have a severe impact on the therapist's perception of events, which leads to response.
I'm so sorry. I don't understand what the point of this video is. These are all great arguments to make in front of a judge, but why is he making them? I don't understand what the point of this video is.
From the therapist that as a therapist's responses would give massive influence over the accuser. So the therapist receives this amongst other inaccurate statements continuing from April 18th. So these are your records that she's made about sessions that she's had with you, and the session date is Friday, August the 7th. We spent the session going over her experience and looking at potential stuck points where she blamed herself. In reviewing the evening, it is clear the accuser attempted to make good decisions and that he was clearly a predator, skilled in having her make small changes to their plans until she was in his apartment. Have I read that correctly? The accuser confirms, yes. The accuser claims to be extremely truthful to her therapist, giving a completely inaccurate statement about the date to her therapist with a very misleading implication. As a result, the therapist tells her, with authority, he was clearly a predator, skilled in having her make small changes to their plans until she was in his apartment. She then takes these various responses she gets from her therapist and sends them to her friends and family. Also from April 18th. Yeah, Dr. Therapist said that he seemed very calculated in the way he acted, like he had thought it out and that I'm not the first. So now, she's giving false information to the therapist. The therapist is responding, and then she's taking what the therapist is responding and sending it to her friends using the authority of the therapist. This is one of the many messages that the accuser sent to her friends and family. You can see more in the May 31st closing arguments. Now, during testimony at trial, her statement changed. April 12th, you said the tour was approximately 15 minutes, nothing unusual. What happens after that? She answers, then he suggests that we go for a hike. Oh, And how did you then end up going for a hike? What happens after that? He suggested that we drive to a trail that was close by to his house. So I agreed to that, and we started driving there. So the accuser admitted that actually I suggested we go for a hike, which was the original plan, and then we left the house. Okay, so you described driving towards the escarpment. Accuser, Do you eventually stop somewhere? Accuser, no. He says that it's busy and that we shouldn't bother going on a hike because it's getting dark out. Going a bit down, then what happens? Accuser, so then he suggests going back to his house. Are you able to give us an estimate about how long you were trying to locate a hiking trail? Accuser, again, not long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And so, did you agree with his suggestion to go back to his house? Accuser, I did. We then returned to the house after she agreed to return and watch Netflix and chill. But literally the same night as the date, August 5th, she then goes and tells a very different and inaccurate version the same night. So many implications, opinions, responses, and collusion and influences were made from these inaccurate statements. And what's super concerning about all this, aside from that, she never corrected her therapist by saying, actually, he did suggest going for a hike, and then we actually did leave the house and go to the hiking trail. And we only returned after she agreed to because it was getting dark.
Thoughts on his defense so far? Well, but the problem is that what you're seeing is you're seeing a one-sided defense that somebody would use in court, but like we have no idea what the response would be to this because we're just getting his side of it. But I mean, like they must have presented all of this to the court and they'd still lost their case. They lost a criminal case too. This is like a high standard of conviction, ideally. So I don't know. That's why I'm not sure why I don't know what the point of this video is. I'm not sure.
Other things she never acknowledged. The reason it was getting dark is why we came back was because she showed up over 30 minutes late to the date in the first place. So instead of being honest about this or clarifying it or correcting it at all, she then took the therapist's responses amongst others and then sent them to her friends and family members. Objectively speaking, this can be considered very problematic because she essentially gave an inaccurate statement to the therapist, which then elicits responses based on these false details. And then instead of correcting them, she uses them as authoritative proof that something happened to her that didn't actually happen. But all of this was under false pretenses from false information. And this was not cleared up and corrected until nearly 4 years later at trial in 2024. At that point, all these communications and the eventual false accusation had already happened. The damage had already been done because amongst all of the other inaccurate statements made to the therapist, this completely colored the therapist's perception of what actually happened, leading to her convincing the accuser, I was a skilled predator, I've done this to multiple people, amongst other things, such as she's not the first, as somebody that's never met me and knows absolutely nothing about me, to intentionally put out false information to someone and then take what they said in response and use that as an authoritative source to influence friends and family. And this is just a small taste. I highly recommend you go through the April 18th testimony. Everything's in there and it is shocking. Okay, moving on. Next, when giving her original statements to the police, she said that oral sex lasted 5 to 10 minutes, but also that the consent video incident happened about 1 minute into the oral sex, and then our brief conversation about it was approximately 1 minute long. So this timeline would imply that oral sex resumed afterwards to fill up the remaining 3 to 8 minutes. At trial on April 12th, she said that after the consent video, she immediately stood up and successfully put her clothes on and claimed that she tried to leave. But then, during cross-examination on April 17th, she acknowledged there could have been more time for oral sex, and it was possible that it continued. My lawyer, okay, but then you'll also agree with me that even after he put his phone away, that you continue to engage with him in oral sex. Accuser, I don't remember. Lawyer, okay, well, let's talk about timing here because you said the oral sex lasts between 5 and 10 minutes, right? Accuser, yes. And the incident with the phone happened about a minute or two into the oral sex, right? Accuser, yes. So therefore, there was more time for oral sex. Accuser, there could have been. Lawyer, okay, it's possible that it continued, right? Accuser, it's possible. I'm not even going to say my version of events, okay? This is her version versus her own version. This completely contradicts her other version of events about getting up, putting her clothes on, and then trying to leave. From the appeal. In chief, April 12th, the accuser testified that once Mr. Densmore took out his phone, she stood up, starting to put her shirt on, looking for her purse. Remember the purse for later. On April 17th, when trial counsel asked the accuser whether she continued to engage with him in oral sex, after his phone was put away, she claimed that she did not remember, in addition to, there could have been time. Upon further questioning on April 18th, the accuser conceded that it was possible that she performed additional fellatio following the phone incident. This is a massive contradiction because if oral sex continued, which is what actually happened, that would mean all of the things she said about getting up, putting her clothes on, and trying to leave was completely fabricated. Look at the transcripts. Moving on. There was further conflicting evidence in regards to her retrieving and putting her shirt on. This is from April 18th after my lawyer has been asking her about when we had sex. And then I asked where the bathroom was and left the room. Why would you need to ask for the washroom? He's already showed you where it was before he got to his room. Accuser, he did. I guess that was my way of telling him I needed to use the washroom. A little further down. So you'll agree with me that according to you, those are the first words spoken by you or him since you had that little exchange about the phone, correct? Accuser, I believe that he did say something when I was putting on my shirt. Remember that. I don't remember what it was, but I remember kind of awkwardly laughing. My lawyer, okay, so now you remember that, right? But you didn't remember it before. Accuser, I don't remember what he said. I remember not responding to him talking though. Lawyer, well, you did. You said you laughed. Accuser, yes. Lawyer, so that was a response, right? Accuser, okay, yes. So aside from the earlier statements about total silence, which we've gone over, the inaccuracy here is in her earlier version of events, she claims to have stopped oral sex, stood up and already had put her shirt on. From April 12th, accuser, I'm still sitting down, but when he went to go put his phone down, he had kind of removed or stopped standing directly in front of me with his feet on both my sides. So I kind of had a way to stand up and create distance between us. So I did that. And then I started putting my shirt back on, looking for my purse. My lawyer, did you indeed put your clothes back on? Accuser, I did. But here on April 18th, aside from the different story about the oral continuing, there was also a major discrepancy that actually shows even more credibility towards the oral actually continuing, which is what actually happened. Because after penetrative sex had completed, she claimed, I believe that he did say.
Okay. Is it just him going through inconsistencies in our stuff for the next 25 minutes or anything else in this video? Or
something when I was putting on my shirt? But why would you put your shirt back on if it's already on? If you got up after oral, like you said in your original statements on April 12th, then your shirt would have already been on. Question, did you leave the bedroom? Accuser, no. He came up to me, started kissing me, put his fingers inside of me again, and then kind of quickly pushed me onto the bed, so my stomach was on the bed, and then he lifted my dress up and put his penis in me. In this version, she had already put her shirt and clothes fully back on. There was no shirt removal, but then I came over and forced her on the bed and penetrated her. So on April 12th, the shirt is already on for the penetration. After getting dressed and trying to leave on April 18th, in addition to the oral continuing, the shirt was only put on after the penetrative sex, while awkwardly laughing about something I said. So if you're telling the truth about getting up and putting your shirt back on after oral, then the shirt would already be on.
What's
These
so
are
funny
just
about that,
a few of the inconsistencies between her statement to the police, her testimony, and her cross-examination. There were many, many more. If I included them all in this video, it would be several hours long.
Okay.
These inconsistencies, inaccuracies, whatever you'd like to call them, are not in comparison to my statements or testimony. All of these things are her word versus her own word. These are not even taking into consideration my testimony, where I disagree with basically everything she's claiming. Even being as polite as possible, there is a alarming pattern of changing stories, contradicting, and even fabricating physical evidence to depict an aggressive encounter that simply didn't happen. There are dozens of instances from this person that clearly lower their credibility, or to be blunt, outright disqualify their credibility. And to put it simply, that is what reasonable doubt is. What started as a concern about a potential video needed a description of a non-consensual, aggressive encounter in order to get a warrant to access my phone. And the accuser herself conceded during cross-examination that many points in her initial statement were not true. I stated this earlier, but it needs to be said again. The accuser was encouraged to go forward by her friends, family, and therapist. The issue, though, is that she told her therapist, as well as her friends and family, not what actually happened. Inaccurate information. And that became the narrative.
Is there like a video that shows like, I guess, what happened in court or what her side of the story was or whatever? I am curious. I mean, like, obviously his side is compelling, but it's his own stuff. Anybody? The judge gives his rationale for the guilty verdict. Oh, you're really gonna fucking link a goddamn thing? By way of introduction, Mr. Densmore, the accused, stands charged with 1 count of sexual assault against blank, the complainant. The basic legal principles are such that the accused entered his trial presumed innocent. The burden of proof was and continued throughout the trial to be on the Crown to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That evidentiary burden never shifted. The accused was not required to prove anything. In the charged offense of sexual assault, the Crown was required to prove each of the following essential elements beyond a reasonable doubt. So that he touched her, directly or indirectly. I don't know what indirectly means, but okay. Maybe through clothes or something, I guess. That the touching by him was intentional. That the touching by Jack Densmore took place in circumstances of a sexual nature. And that consent was not present at the time the touching in question took place. Okay. Interesting. I would hope that their convictions on this aren't stupid, but like I wonder if like if you were touching somebody and they were cool with it and then eventually they were like, "Hey, please don't touch me anymore. I don't want that." And then you stopped after a second. Do you meet all of the elements of sexual assault in that 1 second? I don't know. Probably I would imagine not or hope not, but who knows. The complainant and the accused both testified at trial. The accused was not required to testify, but he elected to do so. His testimony needed to be assessed. Like the testimony of any other witness, the court could accept all, part, or none of Mr. Densmore's evidence if the court believed that testimony of the accused that he did not commit the offense charge, blah, 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 blah. Before proceeding... Wait, hold on. Okay. Before proceeding to the analysis of the evidence, the defense raised the potential of collusion and argued that because the complainant had been in contact with family, friends, and specifically her therapist following the evening at Densmore's home, that she was influenced by them to such a degree, either consciously or unconsciously, that had colored or tainted her interpretation of the impugned events. The defense relied on supportive communications exchanged between the complainant and her immediate family and friends after the alleged assault that encouraged the reporting of the incident to police, and that tended to demonize the accused. Additionally, the defense relied upon communications from the complainant's therapist made prior to the reporting of the incident. With regard to this argument, what is advanced is not collusion, which has conspiratorial overtones, and which would bring into question the credibility of the complainant, but rather what was really suggested was an inadvertent tainting of the complainant's evidence affecting only its reliability. I find no merit in this argument. The nature and context of these communications was simply indicative of a supportive network of people that wanted to help the complainant in whatever manner they could. Family and friends provided comfort, and the therapist provided suggestions that had a therapeutic objective. The fact that the people with whom the complainant had contact with encouraged her to report the incident to police or made disparaging remarks about the accused without having been present at the incident or knowing him had no effect on the reliability of the complainant's evidence as related to the critical issues in this trial that revolved around the essential elements of the offense. The evidence. I now turn to the evidence. Okay, although there were some minor discrepancies in their respective recollections relating to the lead up to the sexual contact, what emerged from the testimony of both complainant and accused was the following. At the time of the alleged offense, both the accused and complainant were adults. Mr. Densmore was a self-employed YouTube personality. Both parties did not know each other. In 2019, the complainant and Mr. Moore were both at the same university, blah, blah, blah. 1 year for the homecoming. During the COVID pandemic, parties were matched on each other using a dating app. Okay. Upon returning to his home, Mr. Densmore offered the complainant a drink, which she declined. Mr. Densmore then asked if the complainant wanted to go upstairs to his bedroom to watch television. She agreed. Once in his room, both parties sat beside each other on his bed and started to watch television. While in Mr. Densmore's bedroom, the parties engaged in sexual activity that was broken down into 4 distinct phases, starting with kissing, followed by touching over and under clothing, including the complainant's exposed breasts and digital penetration of her vagina, third being oral sex, and the fourth being unprotected sexual intercourse. The complainant left Mr. Densmore's home at approximately 9:46 p.m. Based upon the evidence of both the accused and the complainant, they would have been together in his bedroom for no longer than 36 minutes. Conflicting evidence. In describing their evening together, and specifically with regard to the 4 phases of sexual activities that occurred, the accused and complainant did provide details that differ, some minor, others more significant. I will only address the significant differences in their evidence and the implications of same. The accused testified that the complainant consented to all 4 phases of sexual activity through groaning, moaning, use of specific words, and her actions. The complainant disagreed. The complainant testified that while the first phase of kissing was consensual, on 2 occasions during the second phase of the sexual activity, she communicated through actions and words her disapproval and lack of consent. The first occasion was when the complainant was sitting on the accused. She testified that the accused bit her exposed breast, and she pushed him away and laid herself off him, signaling her lack of consent. The complainant testified the biting of her breast was painful and resulted in redness and swelling that persisted for several days after. That's a crazy statement to read. Holy shit, but okay. Real quick, what are the ages of the both of them for this? Fuck, was that listed above? I noticed that they were both adults. I don't know if both ages are listed. He was 26. She was a freshman. Okay. Okay. In the ASF, the sexual assault nurse who examined the complainant's breast the day following the alleged assault noted no injuries. The accused denied both the biting of the breasts and pushing away. In this conflicting evidence, I find that communication of disapproval or lack of consent did not occur in the manner or the intensity that the complainant described, and accept the evidence of the accused on this point as supported by the medical evidence. If somebody disapproves of a thing you do, I don't think I would ever describe that as like lack of consent. That just seems like a wild, wild way to describe that. Like if you're having sex with somebody or you're messing around with somebody and somebody like grabs the other person like a little bit too hard, because I mean it happens sometimes. Like I think that's a natural thing that like sometimes somebody touches you in a way you don't like or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't like that, or that hurts, or don't do that or whatever. To say that like the person was signaling a lack of consent. In my opinion, that's a wild statement, but okay. Whatever. But it seems like that wasn't determinative of any of this anyway. So the second incident of communicating disapproval was during digital penetration. When the complainant testified, she said, "Ow," to the accused. The accused denied hearing this communicated disapproval or withdrawal of consent as having occurred. In cross-examination, the complainant agreed that during the sexual phase of sexual activity that included the push and the utterance, "Ow," that she was kissing the complainant back. And when asked, "Okay, so that's a way you could have shown that you were still interested in what he was doing, right?" It could have been. On this conflicting evidence, I also find the communication of disapproval or lack of consent did not occur in the manner the complainant described and accept the evidence of the accused on this point. Okay. I wonder what's next? Okay. Notwithstanding my findings that these two incidents did not occur as stated by the complainant, I do accept the evidence of the complainant that during the second phase and leading up to the third phase of the encounter, the complainant was having some misgivings about how far things had gone and wanted to end the evening and leave. At phase 3, being oral sex, the accused maintained that this was completely consensual and that any issue that the complainant had regarding his videotaping of that activity, which I will address in more detail shortly, was resolved to the complainant's satisfaction. The complainant took a different position on this. I turn now to the videotaping incident. The accused testified that during oral sex, he picked up his cell phone and started filming the complainant. When the complainant saw this, the accused told her that he was making a consent video. The complainant denied that this was said. On this specific point, it is very odd that the accused would contemplate making a video to confirm consent after the start and during oral sex without first obtaining consent of the complainant to do so. I'm sorry, I either wasn't paying attention or what. This sounds like, this sounds retarded. If the accused was making this argument, this sounds like such a stupid fucking thing to say. It sounds like he picked up the phone to start recording her without asking her, and then she noticed, and he's like, actually, it's super common to have a consent video like this. Like, okay. His explanation and rationale for this was simply too incredible to believe. Yeah. When he says that, like, it's common for people to record things like this, when he was saying that, my understanding was like maybe before you actually have any sex, you would say this. Like before anything happens, you would say, like, hey, here's a video, we're gonna bang, and we're both cool with each other, like something like that. That just seems like that just seems wild to me, but okay. I reject the evidence of the accused that he was making a consent video, whatever that really is, or that he told the complainant that he was trying to film one. This evidence seems to have been made up by the accused in order to justify and explain away the introduction of his cell phone at this point of his intimate encounter with the complainant. Deletion of the video. The accused testified that when the oral sex stopped and the complainant told him that she did not agree to be filmed, he showed her his phone. He then deleted the video in front of the complainant. He then went further to show her on another function on his phone. Now he's deleting the deleted video, thus making the initial deletion a permanent deletion. The complainant's testimony regarding the phone differed. She testified that she was caught by surprise when she looked at during oral sex and saw the accused videotaping her. She clearly communicated to the accused that she did not agree to be taped. In response to that, the accused simply put the phone down. Contrary to what the accused stated regarding the deletion of the video, the complainant was emphatic in her cross-examination and remained unshaken that she did not witness any deletion of any videos. She did not even see the phone screen. The complainant was not even sure if the accused had taken a photo or a video of her. With regards to this area of conflicting evidence related to the deletion of the video, the complainant was credible, and I reject the evidence of the accused as unworthy of belief. This conclusion is also supported by the evidence elicited from the complainant in cross-examination about her most significant concern after leaving Mr. Densmore's home, being the existence of an intimate video of her and the potential impact of this on her in the future. If she had witnessed the double deletion that Mr. Densmore testified to, she would not have had these concerns. In short, having considered all the evidence on the issue of the video, I reject the testimony of the accused as unworthy of belief. The evidence of the complainant on this point was logical and believable. In her testimony in chief, what does that mean? In court? Is that what that means? The complainant stated that after the video incident, she got up and wanted to leave. In cross-examination and based upon the time estimates the complainant had given on how long the oral sex lasted, being 5 to 10 minutes, and the time frame when the video was made, approximately 2 minutes, defense counsel suggested to the complainant that after the phone was put down, there were a few minutes left and that she continued to perform oral sex, to which she responded it was possible. This was raised a second time in cross-exam when she clarified her evidence in stating that while it could have been possible, she did not remember doing that. Nothing turned on whether the complainant engaged or did not engage her for the oral sex after the phone was put down. These answers given on cross-exam did not diminish or adversely affect the credibility of the complainant. It simply highlighted that the time estimates she had given were not particularly reliable. In summary, and in regard to the conflicting evidence, I conclude that the complainant started to have subjective misgivings about her sexual activity with the accused before the oral sex occurred. These initial misgivings crystallized both in the form of a subjective withdrawal of consent during the course of oral sex and when they communicated in words to the accused when he tried to film the complainant, and she said that was not okay. At this moment, it ought to have been clear to the accused that he had overstepped. The final significant conflicting evidence came regarding the fourth phase of the sexual activity, first relating to the preparation for the unprotected sexual intercourse, and then with the consent of the execution of the same. The accused testified in chief that after the oral sex ended, he told the complainant to stand up, asked her to turn around, reached around her, and penetrated her digitally and removed her underwear. He testified that the complainant did not assist him in the removal of her underwear. He pulled them down to her knees, where they fell to the floor. Additionally, the accused testified that he, with the assistance of the complainant, pulled her entire dress off, and it too fell on the floor. The complainant's evidence was that when she got up from the floor after the oral sex, she pulled up her dress straps and covered her breasts and pulled down her dress and turned to the bed to retrieve her shirt that she had removed earlier. No words were exchanged between the complainant and accused. The accused continued to kiss her. She did not kiss him back. He turned her around and bent her face down on the bed. He pulled her dress up and pulled down her underwear. He entered her without asking and without a condom and ultimately ejaculated on her back. She testified that she remained passive throughout this fourth phase of the sexual activity. With regard to the conflicting accounts of how the complainant came to be positioned for intercourse and the way her dress was removed, I reject the testimony of the accused on these points. I accept the testimony of the complainant as being logical. She already had serious misgivings. After the video incident, she rose, started dresses up, at which point the accused continued to kiss her, touch her, and moved her on the bed. And removed her underwear. The complainant did not assist the accused. Turning now to the conflicting evidence on the issue of consent and to the execution of unprotected sexual intercourse, the complainant's evidence was that there was no consent to this activity. She was passive, and although she knew it was happening to her, it felt like she was not, or it felt like it was not. She felt like she had left her body. Mr. Densmore testified that the complainant communicated her consent and approval by asking him to spank her, encouraging her, blah, blah, blah. The complainant was not cross-examined on these allegations or on these alleged words of direction or encouragement that she was said to have uttered, which supported the narrative of the accused. I know that the accused testified to these alleged utterances in a manner that was flip and appeared to be made up on the spot. Accused painted a confusing picture in his evidence relating to pursuing intercourse. What was he actually convicted of? So is this like a full-on fucking rape? So it's 4 essential elements to sexual assault. Damn. That's crazy. As a matter of law, I feel like that's insane to me. So it sounds like what happened was they were hooking up, and then this guy tried to take his phone out to record a fucking video that he didn't ask her about or take pictures or something. She said no, and then at that point she's like understandably irritated. But then it sounds like she kind of went along with the rest of the hookup. He banged her, and then eventually she leaves, understandably still irritated about the video. But we're claiming because, as a matter of law, because she was kind of passive and irritated after he took out his phone to record, that them fucking was him basically raping her. That's crazy to me, in my opinion. Damn. 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 Okay. So you disagree with the ruling? I don't know what the law is in Canada. If that's how the law is as applied in Canada is, and I mean, technically, I guess it's a good ruling, then I would disagree with the law. But I don't know how it's ordinarily applied ordinarily applied in these cases. Jeez. If she didn't consent to the video, doesn't that mean she didn't really consent to the interaction from that point? No, I feel like the word consent gets abused like crazy. I think that's retarded. She was definitely irritated from that point, but like, I wouldn't say that like they no longer. I wouldn't say automatically that they no longer consented to the encounter. Like, I'm trying to think, like, if you're having sex with somebody or you're hooking up with somebody and then they do something that's like annoying or off-putting and you're like, and then you kind of like go along with the rest of it. Like, does that count as rape? Damn. If you actually want to do the consent video meme, then why would you ever continue that encounter as the man? If she doesn't consent to the video, don't you fuck yourself at this point? I mean, he should have stopped. I mean, it's especially if she was irritated. But wow, Rip and Tara, thank you for the $100 donation.
$100. What did he say?
He said for my YouTube subscription.
Only 100?
Shut up. Well,
what do you want me to say?
Jesus. Hold on, this is a real quick thing because I see a message in YouTube chat. She could have walked out. Y'all incels have zero clue what it's like to be a vulnerable woman in that situation. It could get dangerous quick. I am super sympathetic to women that say things like that. You should be a tradcon if you have that perspective, though, and you should not be having casual sex. You're a danger to yourself and everybody around you. And you're just, if you feel like you are never comfortable asserting that you're not either enjoying a situation or you feel like you want to leave a situation or whatever, if you ever find that you feel like you're not capable of doing that, you don't trust the person you're with to do that, you should not be having casual sex with that person. You really shouldn't be having casual sex at all. Wait for relationships or some other environment. Because that's crazy to me. But damn, I can't believe that counts as rape. Rip. Well, Rip ran into this dude. Apparently his appeal got denied. Somebody said already. So
up to jail you go. Where is Buddy do the do?
I don't know what the fuck that means. What did you just say?
Where is Buddy do the do? It's an emote.
Buddy do the do?
Yes. It'll be added soon.
If she was putting her clothes back on, doesn't that show withdrawal of consent? I mean, like it could also just show kind of like a lack of like you're kind of like ready, you're over it or whatever. I just don't know if I would say that like it pushes it into rape territory.
She's a man eater.
It's literally, he said, she said no. He claimed they both together took off her dress. No. Yeah, I wonder if his earlier testimony though fucked him on like this retarded thing about like the consent video. GameStop preparing for offer for eBay. Wall Street Journal. Damn. Don't know, don't care. Well, actually, eBay is still used by people, no?
Mm-hmm. Dan uses it. Wait, did Dan leave?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Damn, this guy wrote a whole ass article replying to Hank. He mad. So basically because he was retarded and tried to record it, didn't read the room after, and she starfished the rest of it, he's getting locked up for 3 years. Yeah, but I mean, that would be the most generous reading to him, right? The most generous reading on her side was she was so annoyed that she no longer wanted to have sex, she got up to leave, and then as she's getting dressed, he basically starts to manhandle her and then puts her on the bed and fucks her and then whatever. But it's hard to know in between there. What exactly should he do in that situation? I mean, if somebody seems to be disinterested or disengaged from sex, especially if it's not like a long-term partner or something, I mean, you should probably fuck off. It would be my suggestion. Surely his lawyers fucked him. That consent video defense is terrible. Maybe if he would have admitted to that, though, maybe it would have been implicating him in another crime. I have no idea. Why did this guy do a bench trial? I have no idea what the norm is for Canada shit. I just don't know. Maybe it's normal for that. Somebody linked this video earlier.
Hey, what's up?
The most dangerous pickup artist on YouTube, Jack Denmo. Oh no.
3 hours
and 40 minutes. Fuck that.
Fuck that shit.